welcome back to another fleshy episode of the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love, break them apart, to find out what gives them their magic, sex magic this month. I'm your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by my friend, co-host, guy who just has a lot of knives stuck in him,
Alex Dandino. Yep.
That's right. Before we continue our journey through the Hellraiser franchise, a little business, it's official. We are on Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. The best way to support the show, the only way to get a horror movie episode every single day this month, is part of the Horror Movie Mega Marathon. Guys, we have awesome stuff over there. You get a vote on the movies in the Patreon exclusive library, mini-series commentaries, awesome friends over there. We got all kinds of fun stuff we're working on. We work very hard to make the Patreon awesome for all of our supporters. So for all of you who do support us, thank you so much. For those of you who are about to, thank you as well. Subscribe to the YouTube Film Alchemist so you can see our fleshy little bits as we chat the movies for you. You can email us, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials you're on. We're easy to get a hold of. It'd be great if you would join us over there and share, retweet, all that shit for the October Horror Mega Marathon. We're working hard, man. We want as many people as we can to find it, and that's something you can do to help us out. Something else free and easy to help us out and all podcasts, really. Take the seconds, leave a 5-star rating and review everywhere you find the pod. It helps us defeat the algorithmic Chris Angels that be trying to control our lives and our bodies, which we don't want. We want to break free and do our own thing. Oh, right. Deader. We have fucking crawled up from the murky fucking dungeon that was Hellseeker. And now we're back to a Hellraiser movie that, while not a streamlined narrative missile, this movie's fucking fun. Hellraiser Deader. Hate the title, but this movie, again, this is something I mentioned in Hellseeker, right? These movies aren't great, right? Hellraiser lost its way a little bit at this point.
Right.
And the hell raising seems less a part of it than you would like for a Hellraiser movie, right? Fine.
Right. Not as much hell raising as you'd expect.
Yeah, it's not enough pinheads, not enough Cenobites, not enough the stuff we want, right? So what I always ask is, what does your movie do really well? This movie is super fucking fun. It gives us some very fucking weird visuals. It has a couple moments that are really good horror movie scenes. So yeah, I think this movie has 3 or 4 scenes where I'm like, these are great, legitimate scenes. I'm enjoying my time in a Hellraiser movie again. Thank the gods. Thank Leviathan. That's what I was thinking to myself. So again, I think this movie suffers from a lot of the issues that some of these latter Hellraisers do. But at its very core, it delivers a very fun, flesh-ripping experience in the Hellraiser franchise. So, Alex, open us up on Deader.
Deader was definitely better than Hellseeker. If not just because it actually, and I read this later, actually completely ignores Hellseeker's entry into the franchise. So originally, they had commissioned this writer named Peter Briggs, who had written a draft of Freddy vs. Jason that the Dimension Films was really impressed with. They had asked him to write a version, seventh Hellraiser movie. Like, okay, cool. He wrote it. The pitch came in. It was a little too high budget, so they went dumpster diving. Not a bad thing, by the way, but they went looking for other movies, other pitches, and they happened upon this spec script called Deader by Neil Marshall Stevens, and they basically had him retool it so that it fit into the overall Hellraiser universe. I don't think it's the worst idea. I'll say that. I think these later movies, particularly like the problem we had with Hellseeker yesterday was like it just had like there's no point in the movie happening really.
I wanted anyone in the movie to be seeking anything desperately.
Yeah, what's nice this time is like, the reporter angle is a good angle. Like,
It's fun.
people
Makes sense.
seeking something that isn't necessarily ultimate pleasure is what makes Hellraiser movies good. When you're just seeking something, it doesn't necessarily have to be sexually awesome, but that's like a bonus. When people are like looking out for shit and they happen upon the puzzle box, that's when this movie makes things. That's when these movies really work, and I think that's why Deader, while a terrible title for a movie, still has a really fascinating journey to go on, which is good.
Yeah. Now, I think of all the franchises, because I think one thing that you'll hear us kind of knock casually is the spec script aspect of this, right? Hellraiser of all, there was this time in the 90s too where people are always like, they're going to do a Spawn movie where Spawn's like just in the background of a tale, man. He'll be like haunting the film, right? I always remember those kind of descriptions. That works perfectly for Hellraiser, right? Is that there's a tale of debauchery happening and Pinhead is just there like overseeing and like, silly flashbacks, always the same.
Right.
Right? And he's just there to fucking put the hooks in at the end, right? I think it loses some of the power of the story, but it's a way to do it, right? And I think this one, to be honest, I have no fucking idea how the Hellraiser and the Deader meet at all. I think if there's something this movie needed to do a dramatically better job on, it's why are these two things butting heads, right? Because apparently Winters, right? He's like the fucking white shirted version of Chris Angel, right? Chris Angel you could introduce to your mom, right? That's who he's dressed like, right?
Right.
He is killing people and giving them the ability to come back to life, presumably because he stole something or he's evading Pinhead in the box. He's a descendant of La Marchand,
Yes.
right? So that's supposed to matter. Fine. I think you would be hard-pressed to tell most people who watch this movie, can you really fucking plug those two in and find that narrative through current? I don't think they match up at all, right? There's this point when Pinhead's like, he's creating soldiers in a war he cannot win. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah. I can't wait to understand. Oh, nope, we're not understanding. Fine.
Right.
So let's take that criticism out right of the way. I'm with you, man. I thought the reporter angle was fascinating. Because again, you're right on, right? It's the seeking. And I think this reporter particularly, right? We start off in this drug den. You know, she doesn't want to hit the pipe. She's like, I got everything I needed. Like kind of taking pictures of human misery. We get the sense that she wants to be in the down and dirty, right? That she knows there's a more true experience than her polished editor and, you know, seemingly former husband or whatever. Right? She wants to get in the dirt and see the real shit, right? That's a very Hellraiser place to start a film. I thought the opening with the tape was fucking fantastic. I thought the tape was a fucking wonderful, brilliant scene. So open me up. What are you thinking as we see this tape shit unfold?
I think what works is, how do I put this? I think what works here particularly is that it's, first off, like, I love that shit. Like, I love this whole sequence. Like, it works really well.
Or like whoever's running that camera is getting exceptional coverage. Neither.
Like, again, like, it's just like that. They still do it in movies, by the way. I don't know about you, but like, anytime there's like footage, I'm like, it's just the shot footage from the movie being like put through like a filter. But either way, that's neither here nor there. I like that. If I feel like we're getting Hellraiser-y up front. That's what I like. Like, honestly, I like that we're getting this kind of thing up front, as opposed to the last time. I feel like it just like constantly got buried beneath stuff that really didn't matter. Like, I like that up front. We're like, oh shit. Like you said in the beginning, you said in the intro, it's got this like, what? Oh shit. You said, what's the fucking movie? Oh, Lords of Illusions. Like, yeah, like that's the vibe. Another Clive Barker, like, but that's the vibe that I got like the entire fucking movie.
Yeah,
it's like, not to say it's like cheesy or anything, but like that's the vibe I got because this is how it's supposed to play out. Like, I like that that's where we're going with this. It starts well, and intrigues me to want to actually go on this journey with this person who, eventually finds the fucking box herself. So
yeah, and we're back to flesh, right? We're back to a fucking disgusting mattress.
Right.
These people, like, you can smell the room, right? The fear is the place we go to learn. My skin isn't real. My bones aren't real. My flesh and meat aren't real. That's awesome. That is a direct heresy against the Hell Priest mandate, right? That's the direct heresy, because Pinhead earlier in the franchise, right? I know everyone's like, it's the Hell Priest, not Pinhead. Fuck off. Everyone calls him Pinhead.
Come on, we all call him
Don't be
Pinhead.
that guy. That's what he's actually the Doctor, not Doctor. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
There's no need. You right? Don't do that gatekeeping shit, right? So, but Pinhead tells us, right? Like, and that's what was fun about part 2, right? The Labyrinth and Leviathan is like, no matter where you go, right? All these fucking human follies, they all end one place, man. The fucking flesh, the pain and pleasure, right? That's everything.
Right.
And so this group that's a direct affront to Pinhead himself, right? And they revive, and the gunshot, it's just brutal. It's visceral, right? You imagine seeing a tape like that. I remember when the internet was young and you get to college, people are like, you got to see some shit.
Right.
And you used to watch weird shit. And it's a great way to fucking pull you into the flick.
Well, this is also, this is early 2000s still. It's 2005, so we're still in this like to that extent too. We're in this kick of remaking Japanese horror movies in American contexts. So there's that element too that's kind of fun, because you can tell like they're really trying. You're like, guys, this is Hellraiser. We don't need any of that. We're all good.
Honestly, I think I would fucking die so happy if you let some of those Japanese directors at that time have a run at Hellraiser.
Oh yeah, I thought it would have been awesome.
They do the fucking Ghost movie so well.
Absolutely.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine how much awesome shit we would get if they would just license it out and be like, go make a bunch of Hellraiser movies. I bet they'd be fucking great.
Totally.
Right? But, like, here's an example, right? So that scene when she goes in the apartment and the guy's like, what stink? I don't know what stink you're talking about. She goes in, and Marla, is that her name? Marla's in there.
Marla.
Fucking dead on the toilet, right? We thought she was revived. She's dead. Going through her apartment, the smell, the flies.
Having her Elvis moment.
Yeah, having to get that. He's white? It's like, he's white. No. They all are. Spoiler alert, it's Hellraiser. They all are. But when she's sneaking around that apartment gathering up her wares, right? When she goes into that room and has to get that little manila envelope from past the dead body, right? It's a cockneyed idea, right? It's set up. You're like, come on, what? But it works so well. That scene is fucking plucked just right.
Yeah.
And the creepiness is a lot. It's fucking gross. It's visceral. She keeps going, like she can smell it, so you can smell it. When she has to fucking crack the fingers to get the box, it's an awesome scene. Like, that scene is just better than anything. Honestly, I like that scene pretty much as most stuff we've seen in the last one or two. Like, this is a really fucking fun horror movie scene. Yeah. Just crawling around this dead body that has a vivaciousness to it, right? It's unsettling. And so right away you're like, all right, we're doing this. I think that the Pinhead of it, not the best Pinhead run. But I like this segment of like that body, and then finding the fuck Caboose. Like, I think that's really fucking fun. Like, that's a fun place to take a movie, right?
Right.
You walk up to this guy, you're like, let me in the fuck Caboose. And people are like, banging out some lady's fucking, squeezing breast milk on a doll.
Yep.
Whatever's happening, you're like, yeah, this is fun. This is more fun than I've had in a while, and I'm enjoying
this. Like we're getting back into the seeking we're getting closer to like, how far are you willing to go for pleasure?
Exactly right.
And that's
you
what
have
this
that
movie's
same
supposed to be.
self-destructive thing I've got. And it's like,
exactly.
Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. I think that's fucking awesome, man. The whole idea of once you touch the box, there's no turning back.
Right.
Right? I think that's what these movies are all about, right? There is this weird, like, Pinhead wants to use her, but, like, when he first introduced himself, he's like, let me just fucking pluck your face full of chains and shit. It's like, hey, man, a little more honey. A little less fucking chains and whips. Whatever. But we get this scene, right? And essentially, he's the one who's like, the debtors, we don't know what they do. However, right? And she's like, I think they bring people back to life. Fine. He's the only one who can bring it. So it sets us on this race towards something that's pretty fucking fun for the rest of the movie. But, I mean, that's the thing, right? You just have these scenes that are good landing blocks, right? Like, I don't know that the whole movie itself is streamlined. But, she ends up in the hospital, and the guy's just like, you're a fucking glutton. Yeah. You're a fucking glutton, right? You want all of this shit more than you can handle. You've bitten off more than you can chew. And you're like, fuck yeah, that's Hellraiser. That's all I want is this lady knows she should run and she fucking can't.
Yeah.
I like those bits of
That's
this movie.
the beats that work for Hellraiser movies. When it's the forbidden fruit. Like, that's why detective stuff and reporter shit works for this version that has no, like, Uncle Frank's or any shit like that. When it's the seekers of, I guess, truth in a way, when it's people who are seeking the truth, that I think is that's like the key that unlocks these characters to survive beyond just like hey, I got a fucking sweaty blood face upstairs. Will you like let him feed on you? Like that kind of thing. Like, and that works for those first two movies, but I think that what makes these movies survive past that is definitely the investigation angles, because curiosity, man. Curiosity's a killer.
Yeah, it's the moth to the flame, right? And we
Absolutely.
all are. We all know we shouldn't smoke, drink, eat fast food, not get enough sleep. Like, we all know how to do it. And then we're like, you know what? Fuck our flesh, right? We're all our own little, fuck you, flesh. I'm going to eat this extra tray of Oreos. That's just how we do, right? But I do want to get your idea on this. I do think the foisting in the childhood abuse angle, I felt a little scummy to me.
If this
not
is
because it happened, but because they refused to address it in a way that takes it seriously.
I think what happened, like, that to me is one of those things where you put it in a movie to justify, like, I don't know. Like, to me, characters never need to justify why they're curious. Like, we talked about this.
Why does this lady like to wear black so much?
Like,
it's like, that's not a good answer for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, but to just say that she, like, here's, like, and I wasn't really, to be honest with you, the biggest problem is I wasn't really sure what they were trying to get at with this whole thing. Like, were they trying to
problem is they went back to the well like 5 times, and you're like,
yeah. So were they saying that because she was sexually abused, that means that she's ultimately curious, or she's
that's
experienced?
Why she's always looking under the rocks, for the dirty parts of life? I don't know.
Which is weird. Like, to me, like, it's one of those things that I feel like that's like where people start misinterpreting what I think Hellraiser really is. Because, like, that's true trauma, and I would never trivialize anything like that. And that is another reason that this doesn't work, because it's a little,
if you're going to add something that horrifying into a film, it needs to have
real weight and resonance,
like just an ironclad reason to exist.
What it can't have is the reason is because this is how she's able to tolerate, like, what she's like. I'm like, no, that's never gonna work. Like, I sat there for like 10 minutes trying to justify why that was a thing in this person's backstory. I'm like, her being an investigative journalist was enough. I had absolutely nothing else.
They had this wonderful scene after she wakes up stabbed.
Yeah.
Where she has to, like, get the knife out of her own back. She's bleeding everywhere. She's getting fucking blood all over this white room. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Right? They have another scene like that eventually where, like, your time's right now. She's getting blood everywhere again. She loves rubbing blood on the walls and scream acting. Like, a lot of that, like, barbaric
Carly
yelp
were
kind
her,
of
man.
shit.
She rules.
Yeah, she's really going for it.
Yeah.
They kept doing this thing where they would try to do interstitials of her trying to pull the knife out of her back and her open bleeding wound.
Yeah.
With the childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And I was like, I see the, like, shockingly on the nose or chest wound symbolism of, like, the open wound you can't get. But I'm like, again, I don't think they earned it.
That is the best way to put it. It's such an unearned beat.
Yeah.
That you're just like, why is this in the movie?
Do we need to know that she has a super specific unclosable wound. Like, we
Right.
get it. Every human who's lived long enough has some unresolved trauma. Hopefully not anything that fucking horrific.
No, but like
But-
it's such a strange thing to have in a movie about like
They show it
Haven't-
5 times, so I was like, this seemingly was something
like,
that really mattered
right.
to someone.
and it should have really mattered, but it felt like, I mean, again, like by the end of the movie, it is almost, it's like almost cruelly inconsequential.
Yeah.
That is the problem I have.
Well, it's like if you watch Human Centipede 2, right? And on. They literally just do everything to be the fucking cringiest, most disgusting, despicable shit. None of it has any kind of like, this is why it's in the movie, right? It's just to fucking make you turn your head away from the screen, right?
Right.
And I thought this movie, I was like, you're better than this movie. Like, you could have done a little more dead, or I would have liked to have seen that. But, you know, there was this cool idea in the movie, too, I really liked, where she starts talking to zombie Marla, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, she's like, you're fucking dying, whatever. We find out that the deaders essentially will look as dead as they want to.
Right.
That a lot of them can't tolerate the idea that they're not dead, so that's why Marla was like rotting on the vine.
Right. Which was awesome. Which is an awesome vibe.
It's pretty
really
cool because she has
pretty
that line.
fucking
She's
cool.
like, if you go far enough into the darkness, there's no distinguishable difference between life and death. I was like, fuck yeah.
Right.
I like some of that. So walk me through Winter's in this movie.
Winter La Marchande.
Winter La Marchande, right? He didn't learn the spaceship lessons, right? He had this really noble ancestor that was blowing shit up. I guess he was between. He was like the less successful uncle. He's like, are you still winning toy awards? I mean, I got a white shirt and I'm living in this sewer. Walk me through Winter as kind of our big bad of the movie.
I mean, it's been a really long time since we've seen it's been a while since we've seen someone that like verbose in this series. He's just got like Uncle Frank vibes, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's that level of self-assuredness, and that's not even the right word for it, but like, oh man, superiority, like that sense of empirical value you have to this otherworldly thing that you have no control over, just because someone you're related to was involved. Like
their whole
it's like-
line is cursed, as we learned in Bloodlines.
yeah, Winter La Marchande is like the Chet Hanks of the La Marchande. I get the sense of.
No.
Yeah,
He's just like a good hang, but you're also like, you don't want to admit it.
yeah, probably is just like, yeah, I don't know about that guy, but well, I guess we'll just, we'll live with it. That's how I'm painting Winter La Marchande, the Chet Hanks of the La Marchands.
A lot of flesh, just not under the skull. Less flesh there. Yeah, I think, you know what? I was actually thinking about that. I was like, a cult dedicated to the Cenobites in the box. Brilliant idea. Like, I was really in for that.
Yeah, I get
To
it.
find out they're like a splinter faction within this church of flesh, I'm like, all right, like, this is kind of cool. Stealing the pleasure for themselves. I was kind of digging it, man. Like, I was with them. I don't think that they manifested in a really impactful way. I think it's one of those, it's a cool idea and it gets you kind of going. The tape is great, but then it just somewhat dissipates, right? And this is kind of the problem we see in a lot of these where it's like, that's probably a beat where we could have had another Pinhead scene, right? We didn't need another fucking, guy saying, stab yourself, don't do it. We're still kind of reality jumping a little bit in this one. Because I don't understand, right? Because Marla Zombie tells her he wants ultimate pleasure, right? Winters can't solve this puzzle. It takes the one.
Right.
This person who's the right mix of depravity and loneliness. And
Which
somehow Amy Klein is the one.
Which again, really like kind of when you realize, really when like that, all that stuff starts coming up, it's another thing where like, this is very inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like there is a flippant use of childhood trauma being used here. I'm like, that makes her worthy of opening this box of terrors. It's a very strange thing.
And to what avail, right? Like, that's what I mean. This is what happens when you just force two things together that weren't meant to be together. And they never really found a great answer. Again, I don't think it matters as much, right? Because by the time we get to the her throwing the puzzle box as a bomb, right?
Okay.
And Pinhead opens up. Shh. Like, now we're just like, the box has no mythological boundaries anymore.
Also, this is a thing from early 2000s movies. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but like, there's an era of filmmaking where throwing things got CGI'd really quickly. And it's so jarring.
Realize how few people have a fucking cannon.
Yeah, I was just like, how bad of a throw was Kari Werher's that they had to, shit, we're going to have to CGI this fucking box right in there.
We're going to have to Event Horizon this box in here quick.
It's just a weird little picadillo I've noticed from like movies from this era. Are just like, I don't know what else to do. There's terrible at throwing, so we're going to have to CGI this thing.
Did no one see The Sandlot? What is happening?
Okay, anyways. So yeah, she she tosses the box, and yeah,
I like the box bomb. I thought that was pretty fucking rad.
I thought it was fucking rad.
Boom.
I thought it was rad, and I do fucking love watching Winters get taken to pieces. Like, that is fucking
because he cowers, cool. Right? When he's like, you can't hurt me. And he's like, many have said that. And he's like, no, help me. Ah! And you're like, yeah. He gets ripped apart.
There is this real, again, I love, this is the saving grace for me in these movies that I do not think are particularly good, is Pinhead's just like, oh, fine, God. Okay, I guess we're doing this again. Here's my chains. Jesus Christ.
You could definitely tell Pinhead was phoning it in when he's like, I'll just fucking conga line kill all of the debtors. He's like, just 2 chains, take them all out in a row. Right? He's like, he's not really at this point, he's not like, oh, because in the first time we see him, he's like, your body is a wonderland. He's essentially like doing John Mayer lyrics.
Now it's like that Beetlejuice scene when she's playing those Harry Belafonte songs. Like, it's just like, all right, cool. Conga de line. It's just, we got to get this going.
Our bodies are no longer a paradise. Instead, they fucking, they bulldoze paradise and build a parking lot. That's all we are to him. The magic's gone. It's just not the same as when I first started looking.
Oh my God. I was really getting into property, brothers. God damn it, fine.
I mean, God, the benefits were good at the start, but they just don't respect my off hours. I need some separation, work-life balance. Am I right?
I am telling you, this run of Hellraiser movies is all factored into. People just need to respect Pinhead's off time. He needs his R&R.
Yeah. Also, there is just a missing scene here where I'm like, why did this fucking douche Winter? It's like, I'll do a chain throwdown. He had no protocols in place.
No, none.
Whatsoever. He had not a protocol. He carried the box and left it right by the one who can open it.
You're some fucking guru and you don't know come on, guy. And also, that shot where she she's right before she throws the bomb.
Yeah.
Miss. You're like, I get it. Winter, come on. How bad are you with this?
Winter, you dumb fuck. Don't you have any pockets in that fucking jacket?
This is why you're the fucking Chet Hanks, man. God damn it.
This is you.
You could have been Sean Brumner.
In circumstance. That's it. Sean Brumner.
You could have been Sean Brumner, and instead
you could have been throwing down with Dexter, but look at you, you fucking loser. You fucking swamp loser.
You're just tick-tocking and ruining it.
You Jackson Mahomes, you. That's you. You're just here for the looks. That's all. No, I did think, because again, I was like, all right, this is pretty rad. I'm excited. They again betrayed me.
Yep.
They have another unearned moment where Pinhead's just like, hey, thanks for helping me defeat these guys, the army that they were going to battle us with. Hey, your dad's in here with me. And I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope, don't like that. And then our hero who has to say, hey, I don't give my soul to anyone. I've overcome my trauma.
Right.
Right? I have forged ahead.
Once again,
still
unearned.
has to kill herself.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's like,
you can't have us do the I've overcome every form of trauma imaginable. I will not be cowed by any of you, except for now I'm going to give up.
Watching it today, particularly this last 20 minutes of the movie, I was just like, they must have just been running out of money. They're like, I don't know.
I mean, the argument would be is that she's already dead, so what does that do to her to do it again? I mean, but no, the being her being a debtor is a mind game that we don't know who is forcing upon her. Is he actually like mind freaking her? Because Pinhead doesn't make her think she's dead, but then the editor's like, well, you made quite a mess of your hotel room, so we think that there's maybe... Were the deader wounds there or not? Because if the deader wounds were there the whole time, I don't think her re-stabbing...
It's so bizarre. Like
this is the problem, right? These movies all just... You're like, I feel like if you guys just had like a 45-minute like over lunch meeting and you're like, hey, just like a question, why?
It was just so simple. Like, it could have been so simple, and then this whole thing gets thrown in there.
I'm talking Hellseeker through Hellworld, right?
Yeah.
All of them feel like they would benefit enormously. Like, hey, man, here's what we know about Cenobites. Let's just try a tiny bit to, like, connect these spec and mythology we're already doing.
Right.
And again, they're demons. They're a joke from God, right? They're all destined to fail anyways, right? That is what we learn in all these kind of religious subtext horror movies, right?
Right.
So even Leviathan, right? Like, it seems like a lot of his plus here is watching them fail. Because Pinhead watches her do this, and this is another one of those moments where, like, Pinhead is just talking to her for, like, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're like, so on some level, Pinhead, you know that you're like, hey, I'm going to bring you to hell. You know what I mean? Your father's already putting on his suspenders. Like, this is horrifying for us, the audience. Why does he not have the chains in already? Yeah, it's just like those, use your fucking...
Well, it's like this, like, that's the problem, too, is you're like, okay, so she has to come willingly? Like, literally no one in the history of this franchise has
ever
shown
had to
up
come
willingly
once they open the box.
Is this like the one time you're like, well, all right.
It's the one rule.
Oh, I already used my chains today. Just walk in with
Once
me.
Once you open the box, you can't turn away from it. Oh, well, yeah, I guess you can.
Or you can, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, Kirsty just does a 5-for-1. She's like, "Mal, let's do a 1-for-1. I'm out." And Pinhead's just like, God, these coupons they print, they never alert.
I had a few. When I was an RA in college, I always did duty with. She was a member of the LDS church, and I was like, I was raised Catholic, and she's like, oh, cool, and we were just like talking one day, and she was like, she does, she was very, very devout. Like, she didn't wear pants above her knees, because that's a thing. Yeah. Didn't curse, nothing like that. And so finally, she was like, did you retain anything from when you were Catholic, when you were raised? I was like, oh yeah, like I can get away with anything. Like, she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, all I gotta do is say I'm sorry at the end of it. Yeah. Like, I was like, Catholicism's like, don't do that.
Catholicism knows
do whatever you want.
Plus years, yeah.
You're like, you know what, do whatever you want. And that's like exactly how like this movie ends. Is you're just like, hey, don't do that, or you can't. Yeah, you know what, do whatever you want.
It's all right. It's all good. Yeah, it's
I'll catch you another time.
Yeah, I did not like that, right? Because I'm telling you, I feel like Deader was on a trajectory. Like, I think this could climb in and start rivaling I think 1 and 2 are far superior to all of the rest, right?
It had to be, yeah.
I think Deader had a leg where you're like, this could have been the 3rd best Hellraiser movie had they like just fucking tightened a couple bolts. Like, I think it could have got there, right? It's really kind of got this fun of its time vibe. It's just real sloppy around the edges, right? Because even like the ending, right? So the editor seemingly kind of knows what's happening, and then he just brings in another dark-haired girl, so we know that she's probably also like a glutton for knowledges and whatever.
Right, but
he's like, hey, watch this tape. Okay, but the fucking group already got blown up, so what the fuck?
But that was my thing, is like, are they doing a ring thing?
He's watching the coverage of where his reporter got blowed up.
Right.
Sees the reporter, right? The stand-up reporter is just fucking flippantly like, I found this box, is holding the puzzle box. So now we're doing another Hellraiser 3 reporter versus fucking Pinhead.
Honestly, I just thought it was such a weird thing to put at the end of the movie. I was like, are we doing the ring? What is going on?
Yeah.
Like,
but this is what I mean. Imagine all the fucking, Dr. Chenards of the world who are like, they see the puzzle box on TV and they're, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're just like revving the engines, you know what I mean? Clamping themselves up. They're stoked. So I was like, this movie's just throwing wild shit at the end too. Now the puzzle box is on fucking TV. It's on the 6 o'clock
The whole
news.
world knows.
Every pervert in the world is going to be activated.
Every pervert's looking for that thing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I forgot another great scene is when she goes back to try to find Joey and be like, oh, no, I'm deader now. And she turns around and everyone in that fucking train is dead.
Ugh.
Awesome scene, man.
It is a good shot.
Love
it is
that
a good
shit.
Shot.
Yeah. Again, it's...
I appreciate the swings.
Yeah.
The misses are there, but, you know.
Hellseeker through
I like
Hellworld are all movies that are sloppy at best.
Right.
Right? Like, they're all needed to put a little more time into a unified vision of this. What I can say is that of those four, Deader is the most fun by a lot.
Agreed.
I think Deader's more fun than the others, right? And so, to me, I think that matters, right? Are those three or four, right? Inferno included. Even Inferno, I think Deader's more fun than Inferno. I don't know if the main story pans out and the whatever. It's a fun fucking movie that knew what it was there for, right? And kind of comes at it in a different angle. That, you know, I think it's fun, man. I'd be more excited to rewatch Deader than many other movies in this franchise.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
That's it for Hellraiser Deader, man. What a fun ride on the fuck caboose that was. Stay with us tomorrow. The train keeps a plowing, and we will be discussing Hellraiser Hell World. Which I love on the poster. It says evil goes online.
Online.
Which once you see the movie, you're like, not very much. It must have been dial-up. But neither here nor there. So you know the deal. 31 days, 31 pods of the October Mega Marathon. We're fucking stoked to be doing this. We would appreciate, guys, if you want the movie every day this month. This is a celebration, bitches. I hope you're all doing it with us. You got to go to Patreon, patreon.com/FilmAlchemistPod to get those extra movies that are Patreon exclusive. We would really appreciate the support over there if you can. If you can't, you can still subscribe to the YouTube Film Alchemist. You can still leave ratings and reviews wherever you find us. You can still share all our stuff on your social media. All that stuff means the world to us and helps us out. For the Film Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey.
I am Alex Dantino.